Hello everybody, my name is Chris Scroggins and I'm co-founder and partner of Esports Development and Growth Enterprise, also known as Edge Consulting. And today you'll be taking part one of a three-part workshop series for the introduction to esports. Within this video, we'll cover slides 1 through 5 of the lecture materials that are provided to you, as well as cover the basic understanding of what esports is and help you formulate your own definition of esports. With that being said, before we continue this video, I want you to pause the video here and formulate your own definition or explanation of esports. When doing so, think about what goes into esports. Is it just simply video games, or are there other aspects that make it different than casual gaming? When you come back, we'll start to discuss some of these concepts, but again, pause here and write down your own definition of esports. Now that you're back, let's go over what esports are. In general, you can describe esports as the competitive video game industry and tournaments. Again, this is the most simple way to put it. These are people going head-to-head using video games for a competition, and most of the time there might be a prize involved. This goes to our more scholarly definition of esports, where it's organized video game competitions that center themselves around competitions in front of both live and online audiences. This definition adds more depth to it. Not only are these organized video games, but they center themselves around competitions, and they're also broadcast and have in-person spectators often. Now you might be asking, I play video games in my living room, how does this differ from esports? Well, there are some clear differences between just casual gaming on the weekends with your friends and an esports competition. Firstly, esports are organized. Oftentimes these esports tournaments have brackets, they have administration, they have staff members running it. Not only that, these tournaments are often run by publishers that run their own leagues or organizations. We have teams that are actually competing in leagues, unlike casual gaming where we're just picking up a controller and playing. So unlike where you're just playing for bragging rights against your friends, some of these top esports athletes are playing for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars within these tournaments. This brings me to the level of competition and skill. Some of these players practice their craft for up to 60 hours a week. So where you think that you might be an elite Call of Duty player or Overwatch player, yeah, maybe against your friends you are, but if you went up against some of the top talent in the world, you would quickly see that there's a clear difference between the skill level that's involved in playing in your living room and playing at that next level on a main stage. And then finally, this main stage that I'm talking about is often in front of spectators, both live and broadcast online. Tournaments are broadcast to tens of thousands of people online and also thousands of viewers in person. For example, the Asian Games hosted League of Legends, and one of their tournaments had over 1.1 million concurrent viewers at one time. Previous to this, in 2015, Riot hosted League of Legends Worlds at Madison Square Garden and sold out in less than an hour. This meant that tens of thousands of people were actually coming in person to watch people play video games. Now you might be asking yourself, are esports a sport? Again, I want you to pause the video here to formulate your own answer. Either A, justify why you think esports are considered a sport, or B, justify why you don't think esports should be considered a sport. Again, take a few minutes to formulate your own answer, write it down, and then come back to the video. All right, now that you're back, some scholars have historically questioned if esports are a sport due to two main reasons. Firstly, is the institutional stability of esports, and second, the physicality involved within esports. You might be asking, what is institutional stability? Well, historically, when we talk about institutional stability in relation to sport, we talk about rules, regulations, almost a long tenure that these sports have had. They've been able to evolve over time, where esports are very new. Also involved with institutional stability is having adequate staff and rule sets and policies that guide these different competitions and tournaments. People have criticized esports because while it's a global phenomenon, there are very few actual governing bodies that oversee it at the global level. Now that I say that though, there are some people that have started to organize esports at the global scale. For example, the International Esports Federation, or IESF, has started organizing tournaments all around the world, and the Esports Integrity Commission has also started regulating policies such as cheating and doping. These are similar to bodies like the IOC, or the International Olympic Committee, and the NCAA for collegiate sports. We are starting to see these parallels where people are governing esports both domestically and internationally. When it comes to physicality, I can't argue there. Most esports require fine motor skills rather than gross motor skills. The difference there is fine motor skills involve moving one finger or maybe your wrist, maybe this part of your arm, where gross motor skills are more like watching someone shoot a free throw. It involves bending your legs, tightening your torso, bending and extending your arms. And all of these motions lead to one successful movement or one successful goal of making the basket. And so historically, that's what we talk about when we say physicality in traditional sports is there needs to be multiple body parts moving, usually these gross motor skills that are imperative to the successful completion of a task at hand. So yes, I agree, there isn't really physicality in the traditional sense in esports. However, we see that fine motor skills are essential to completing these tasks, and also some of the physiological responses that these athletes are facing are quite intense. For example, the cortisol levels measured in esports athletes during competition have been equivalent to those of NASCAR drivers during a race. That's incredibly high and stressful. So in conclusion, we now know what esports are in a general sense. You've hopefully formulated your own definition of esports. You've been able to compare it to casual gaming, and we've talked about esports in the lens of traditional sports. For now on in this series, we won't be comparing esports to traditional sports. Instead, we'll just be drawing parallels because they both have proven to be successful industries. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch part 1 of our mini-series for Intro to Esports. I look forward to seeing you in part 2. You can go ahead and click on the next video and we'll pick up with the esports ecosystem.